Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Gary Besford and I am the Senior Learning and Development Manager at Acas. I'm joined this afternoon by Beth Chaudhary, who is the Strategy Director at ifATE. Hello, Beth.
Hello, nice to see you.
You too. So today we're talking about everything apprenticeships. Now that National Apprenticeship Week is here. So um, would you like to give me a little bit of background about you and your sort of understanding or knowledge of apprenticeships?
Yeah, sure. So I've been at ifATE for about the last year and a half, but actually the way apprenticeships run now has been part of a reform program over the last 5 or 6 years, and that's been very much an employer-driven approach to make sure that it's employers themselves who are making the standards that underpin every single apprenticeship. And so an apprentice starting a job, a role, can really be confident that there is going to be demand and there is going to be career progression opportunities from the apprenticeship that they take on. Another one of the innovations that's been implemented over the last 5 or 6 years is that apprenticeships now are in all sectors of the economy and at all levels. So there are the traditional trades, really, really important, electrician, plumber, etc. But there's also, you can be an apprentice archaeologist, you can be an apprentice nurse, doctor, teacher, you name it. So whether you're a school leaver at 16, or somebody in your 60s, as the Chancellor was talking about in his Bloomberg speech recently, who's just looking for a new opportunity, an opportunity to reskill, upskill, there will be an apprenticeship opportunity for you. And if you're a business, there will be an apprenticeship opportunity that will help to enhance the skills base and therefore your productivity as an organisation.
Yeah, I think that's it's fantastic, isn't it? How apprenticeships have really opened up opportunities for people right across, different backgrounds. And I remember when I first started my HR career, apprenticeships were very much about the typical trade, crafts, electricians, engineers, that sort of thing. And I believe that that people still do think that there is pockets of society who think apprenticeships are for young people who are school leavers and they don't want to go down the academic route. But as is seen in a lot of organisations these days, there's such a huge array, like you've mentioned before, about different professions, different trades, and they're not just limited to a particular age group as well. We've got a lot of apprentices at ACAS who are career changers, which again, I don't suppose a lot of people will be aware that in order to get your foot into a different career, perhaps an apprenticeship route is a fantastic opportunity as well. But I think touching upon the skills for life element of it, we all have a lot of rich skills and backgrounds that we can bring to the table as well. Those transferable skills, those soft skills, which are really important in a lot of different professions. So I think that was one of the things that I would certainly say. If someone was interested in an apprenticeship program, don't overlook it because you think you may be too old, or it's not for you, or you might not be able to sort of get the experience in that particular field as well. So, Beth, you mentioned early on about the benefits to small business owners of having an apprentice or running an apprenticeship program. What sort of benefits do you think are suitable, and how would you sort of sell that really to a small business owner, the benefits of an apprenticeship program?
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, small businesses get 95% of their training costs paid for, which I think is really, really important through the apprenticeship levy. And so the government is trying to support and back small businesses to engage in the apprenticeship program. So you have a wide array of standards to choose from, whatever line of business that you're in, whatever level of skills that you're looking for. You've got lots of support with training costs. And then I think the key thing is often to make the relationship with a training provider, which very often might be a local training provider based in the area where your small business is located, so that the apprentice that you're taking on has got that sort of is facilitating that relationship between you and the training provider, and you have that relationship with them as well. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, and again, I think it's one of these things where that there'll probably be a lot of small businesses out there, that aren't necessarily aware that, there's this whole untapped talent available to them through an apprenticeship program. And I think from a business perspective, I suppose it's the barriers potentially can be around, is it really difficult to administer? Do we have to have an apprentice manager internally to sort of look after everything? And it's so straightforward, and that's one of the pieces of advice I would certainly sort of give to a small business owner, that there is a lot of support out there for an organisation who is wanting to look into apprenticeships and perhaps start an apprenticeship program of their own. Like you've mentioned, local training providers are an excellent source of information. Even to sort of get the ball rolling, sort of think about what areas or professions that may be available and obviously suitable. And I know some providers also provide that recruitment element as well, so they can sort of help you every step of the way. So, and another benefit really, I think, is just having that fresh talent in the organization as well, and sort of growing your own, and hopefully giving them a very sustainable career with your
Yeah.
organization, helping them to grow and develop in the future.
You just reminded me, I was in Manchester Met University last week meeting some degree apprentices from all different types of degree apprenticeships, from nursing through to digital. And I was talking to a degree apprentice from a small business in the Manchester area. And what that person was getting out of it was his line manager was the chief exec. The
Mm,
business itself only had about 20 staff. And what he felt he was bringing in terms of benefit to so he was getting to see the whole picture because of the scale of the organization compared to someone sitting next to him from a massive
mhm.
digital company. Brilliant experience in both
Yeah.
cases, but just different. But what he felt his small business was really benefiting from was his own cohort. So
Mm,
because he was doing the training element of his apprenticeship at Manchester Met with all these other people doing all these amazing different software jobs, but the same apprenticeship, was he could bring their experience, their ideas
mm.
to the business where he was located. And I think that's an amazing knock-on benefit that can really help the competitiveness of whatever that business is.
Yeah, that's fantastic, isn't it? I suppose that has that, benefit from the employer, but also from the employee's perspective as well. It's that ability to be able to network. And I've delivered a lot of CIPD qualifications over my career, and every time I mention the word networking to a group of professionals, it's like, oh no. Um, so I think that importance of having that network and feeling confident enough to sort of reach out to one another within that cohort as well is really important. And you should never underestimate the value of what other people can bring to the table, their experiences, and obviously how they can help you with your career as well.
Absolutely, yeah. So, Gary, from Acas's perspective, what should an employer bear in mind when they're hiring an apprentice, just to make sure that that apprentice has a really positive and productive experience?
I think it's really important to, like I mentioned earlier, it's not a laborious task to go through. There's a lot of support out there. Um, don't treat your apprentices any differently to another member of staff, that they're part of the team overall. So don't just say, oh, they're an apprentice, or as though they don't matter, because they do, and they're potentially going to be your future workforce as well. So in terms of what we do at Acas, in terms of our apprentices, they're very much part of the organization. They're very much part of the fabric of the team that they belong to, and they're involved in all lots of different projects, and also any learning opportunities, so that's not just restricted to the learning that takes place as part of the apprenticeship program. It's much broader than that. If we feel, one of our apprentices might benefit from a project management course, we've sent a few apprentices on a project management course. Speaking publicly, that's a big one in terms of those soft skills. So there's lots of ways that, as in terms of an employer, can work with the individual apprentices to sort of look at development needs, look at development opportunities, and it really just helps to enrich the experience overall for the individual, but also that has a huge knock-on benefit for the organization, because they've got this huge, like I mentioned before, that talent pool, that hopefully will be able to grow with the organization as well.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. I mean, ultimately, an apprenticeship is a job, isn't
Mhm.
it? They are
Yeah,
employed to do that job, and that's the beauty of it, because they're also in training and they've got all that richness to bring back.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, in terms of from ifATE's perspective, Beth, what's going on at the moment in terms of apprenticeship offer?
Yeah, well, we're doing some really exciting stuff at the moment. Last month, actually, we published our climate change and environment skills strategy. So we've gone through all of the 650 standards, the occupational standards that
Wow.
have been built by employers to underpin apprenticeships and all of the technical qualifications that are out there. And we've worked with a group of employers to work out which ones are most directly about climate change and then to kind of categorize them from there and which ones should be prioritized. So, for example, domestic electrician, it's quite a small bolt on to that apprenticeship to
Mhm.
enable a domestic electrician to install an EV charge point. But obviously, that's a big growth area driven by government targets at the moment. And so we're really, really proud of the work that we're doing to make it really clear and tangible and practical for employers to know what is a green job, what is a green skill, what opportunities, apprenticeship opportunities and qualifications are out there for me. And also to harness 60% of young people say they want to work on climate change for their career. So it's a really great recruitment tool. It's
Mhm.
quite a good tool for diversity. The next thing that we've got coming out, we're really excited about later this month, is an equity, diversity, and inclusion strategy. Again, looking at what we can do within apprenticeships. And actually, if somebody's applying for a qualification that's about climate change, then you're more likely to get more women applying for that, more people from ethnic minorities and socially deprived backgrounds applying for that than you might if you badged it as being about engineering or being about construction.
Mhm.
And so there's something about how you present that we're getting into. So yeah, we're focusing on our 650 standards and making sure that they are as high quality and appropriate and, meeting the needs and the skills gaps of employers now. And we're also working with trying to broaden the range of employers that we work with. So we've already got 5,000 employers on the Trailblazer groups who are assembled to make and maintain the knowledge, skills, and behaviours that build
Mhm.
each one of those standards. And we've just had a big consultation with those 5,000, but also many more people about what they want the skill system to look like. And we'll be publishing a sort of state of the nation paper on that later in the year. And the last thing we're doing all kinds of stuff. T-level rollout being a really important one. And I would say a T-level is an excellent option for a young person, whether they want to go into an apprenticeship or into university, or into a job. Lots and lots of options for them. The last thing I did want to mention was just our apprentice panel. So as well as listening to employers who build the standards that underpin all of the technical education that's out there, we also very much listen to apprentices, and we have a recruitment process for apprentices to sort of give their opinions on national policy and actually have an impact. And meeting some of those apprentices on our panel now, like there's a brilliant level 3 civil engineer working for Arup, actually, who came straight out of, I think she came straight out of GCSEs, but with top grades, went into a level 3 apprenticeship, and she's just going to, fly through to chief exec somewhere or other. And having the kind of energy and ideas and enthusiasm of and talent of that group of people is really kind of enriching the way that we are making sure that we've got cutting edge technical education that supports productivity and
Yeah.
social mobility across the whole of the country.
Brilliant, yeah, and I think it's fantastic to hear all those good news stories because that's what it's all about, isn't it? And look at people on that trajectory for their career, and I think it's fantastic as well. Excuse me, as well as getting the stakeholders and the employees involved. They're going to be able to say what they need for the future. That the the panel sounds fantastic opportunity for an apprentice as well to really make a difference and shape what apprenticeship programs look like for the future as
It
well.
really is. They've got a great big chance to influence. So anyone watching this who's interested, log on to the ifATE website and you will find out about the apprentice panel and get in touch. We would love to hear from you. And employers, indeed,
Brilliant,
if you
yeah.
think there's an apprenticeship out there that should be out there that doesn't exist, again, get in touch. That's the whole way the system works. So there will be, emerging skills, future skills that haven't been accounted for yet in the system, but that's what employers have got control of through the trailblazer groups that we convene and through the root panel groups that we convene in the different sectors of the economy. So get in touch, be proactive. It's there for you, and you can make it better and make it really world class, which is what we're aiming at.
Yeah, fantastic opportunity. Yeah, so it's exciting times ahead. Um, and yeah, and if anyone wants more information about apprenticeships in general, Acas also has a lot of guidance and information on our website as well. So there is a lot of support out there for not just employers but also anyone considering um, signing up for an apprenticeship program.
So I was going to ask you, Gary, are you watching Happy Valley?
No, I'm probably one of the only people that isn't actually, but I've heard so much about
Well,
it.
all the 6 million households out there who watched Happy Valley on Sunday would have seen that Ryan, one of the main characters, is hoping that he's going to pass his English and Maths GCSE so he can start his apprenticeship. And that prompted a little thought. Obviously, all of us in the apprenticeship world had a little smile at that point. And it did prompt a little thought in me about the reason I'm really glad that you've sort of engaged us in this video is raising the profile, raising the awareness of apprenticeships and of technical education, and really showing it's for everyone. It's brilliantly high quality. That's absolutely secured by employers and supported by ifATE. And the more that we talk about apprenticeships, in the media, in culture, the more that we tell the success stories that are out there, the more that it feels like, university isn't the only sort of option and everything else isn't somehow inferior anymore. Actually, whatever your experience at school, you can succeed through an apprenticeship and through technical qualifications, and that is very much our objective to enable that at ifATE. And I think communicating how easy it is for businesses, how beneficial it is for businesses, how beneficial it is for parents helping their children to decide what to do, or people who've had a career and want a different career. The apprenticeship program is for you. You can be assured of quality because of the fact that employers hold the reins on it. And it's easy to find out more. It's supported, it's funded by the government through the apprenticeship levy and through other types of education funding. So wherever you live in the country, whatever type of job you want to do, whatever stage of life you're at, go for it. An apprenticeship can help you to succeed, to progress, and to have a really fulfilling career.
Yeah, absolutely. There's an opportunity for all. There's an entry route for everyone into different professions, different employment, whatever it is. And so yeah, I echo what you say there, Beth, and I would encourage anyone to consider an apprenticeship program to do a little bit of research. Like I say, there's lots of information out there from ifATE, from Acas, from a lot of local providers as well. And equally, if you are an employer, don't hesitate to sort of get in touch with one of the local providers. Or like I say, Acas can provide support for, when you are employing an apprentice, what does that look like? Development opportunities. It's the same as employing any other member of staff as well, like we've mentioned before.
Absolutely. And even UCAS these days are very much involved in
Yeah,
apprenticeships and matching services themselves. There's lots of support out there. And it is a question of advertising a job and making a relationship with the training provider. Even if you're a very small business, it is as simple as that. It is a real recruitment opportunity for you.
absolutely. Yeah. So thank you so much for your time today, Beth. It was good to meet you and it was good to talk about all things apprenticeships.